Sir, we're not worried about where the accident was in the late 80s, early 90s, but isn't it true that in that time period that you had a injury to your head in which you were in a coma?
In the 80s?
80 or early 90s, somewhere in there.
No, 90s.
Okay. In the 80s?
Could have been in 79 or 80. I don't know exactly.
And you had a fall where you had a head injury. Is that
What
right?
I'm saying to you, sir, I don't walk around telling me when I had that accident.
I appreciate that. But you're here today, you're not denying you had an accident, you're not denying you had a head injury.
I had a head aside, ended up with seizures.
And as part of that head injury, you sought, after the injury, some treatment with Dr. Mark Levin.
Right.
Okay.
Before Dr. Levin, Dr. Palmer.
And you treated with Dr. Levin up till the early 90s, is that fair?
92.
92. Now, Dr. Levin and Dr. Shakari, they practiced medicine together, right?
Right, he was associated with Dr. Levin.
Now, when you visited Dr. Shakari, you never told him that you previously treated with Dr. Levin. Isn't that correct?
I asked for Dr. Levin previously that for his attendance, and he told me the only doctor they had was 2 more.
Mike?
Dr. Shakari, and Dr. Shakari knew I had been under Dr. Levin. Okay?
My question is, did you personally tell Dr. Shakari? No, sir, could you let me finish, please? Did you tell Dr. Shakari that you had previously treated with Dr. Levin? Yes or no?
Yes, he knew.
Could I see a claim to the 6 and find out?
I just need to turn it on.
Great.
Did I give you it already?
Exhibit 6.
You remember when Mr. Kuzman was talking to you about plaintiff's exhibit number 6, a photograph that was taken about a year after the accident?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that before Mr. Kuzman took that photograph, he took that chain and hooked it up that way?
No, I didn't know that.
You've been going to the Sibley Street Stratton until since the grand opening up until the time of this accident?
Sometimes.
Okay, you would go there on a regular basis?
Sometimes.
Okay, you would go there.
I've used Van Hill more so than City.
All right, is it fair to say you would go there 2 or 3 times a week?
No, I heard you say it yesterday.
All right, do you remember me taking your deposition? You remember when you had your deposition taken? And I asked you questions?
I had 2 depositions.
And you remember when you took both your depositions?
Partially.
And you raised your hand up and you swore to tell the truth.
True.
And you told the truth. Right?
To the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. I got to post the witness hearing.
Give me page and my number, don't
I will, yeah. I heard you. In order to help out the witness, I'll read the questions.
Okay.
He doesn't have to use on July 16, 2013, we took your deposition, and Mr. Franklin, you swore under oath to tell the truth, right? Right, Mr. Franklin?
you?
Okay. And then on page 8, lines 9, I asked you, and how often would you go there? Once? Twice? A month? 3 times a week? Your
I
answer was,
said probably 2 or 3 times a week.
all right. So you did go there 2 or 3 times a week.
I said probably.
And the store on Sibley was open for about 10 years before this, right? And then I go down on page 16, I say, since the grand opening, you would have gone there 2 or 3 times a week. And your answer to that was yes. Look at line 18.
On page
8.
8. Yeah, I say yes. He said probably.
So if you went there 2 or 3 times a week, let's just say roughly 2 times a week, it's 50 times, roughly 50 times, or 50 weeks, we'll round it off so I don't have to do the math in my head real hard. So 2 times 50 is 100 times a year. It was open about 10 years before this accident, 9 years, let's just say 9 years before this accident. You had gone to the store roughly 900 times at a minimum before this accident, correct?
I've been there many times on time.
And of those roughly 900 times you were there at the store prior to this accident, incident, you used registers 1 and 2, the area where you fell on a regular basis, right?
I don't know which cashier I used all the time.
I appreciate that. But would you not admit of those 900 visits you would use the cashier area that you checked out on quite
The one that
frequently?
had the less customers, so I could get out of there quick.
You would quick check. That's the quick check aisle you went to that day. And you'd use that quick check aisle in the past.
Have I used it in the past?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
In fact, you used it many times in the past. Right? Correct? You used it many times in the past?
And I said which one had the less customers.
So over the last 10 years, the 900 times you were in the store, you were familiar with the quick checkout register, correct?
When you use quick checkout, I would use 10 if they had less customers.
Let's do this. You were familiar with the checkout area, is that true?
The one that had less customers.
You were familiar with all the checkout areas, right?
Right.
And you used all the checkout areas a number of times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when you used the checkout lane when you fell that day, on these previous occasions, the chain was not hooked up to keep people out of the cash register area, correct?
There was no chain hooked up.
I'm not asking that day. I'm talking about your previous occasions when you used that lane and checkout area.
Most times there wasn't no chain hooked up.
So since there was no chain hooked up to keep you out of there in your times prior to the accident, you were familiar with that area.
I'm familiar going in and came from merchandise leader.
My question is, in your previous 900 trips, you used that lane, you knew there wasn't a chain there, and you're familiar with that area where you fell, correct?
To be honest with you, I didn't know what the change was there for.
That's not my question, sir. My question is, are you familiar with that area? Yes or no?
I'm familiar with that whole story.
Okay, and you were familiar with that checkout area well before this fall? Correct?
Yes.
And you knew how it was set up? Correct?
What do you mean, how it's set up?
You knew there was a mat there, correct?
I never did think about that when I entered that church.
Now, I think you testified earlier today that your neck was sore after the fall?
Yes.
And did you tell the store manager your neck was sore after the fall?
The manager, I didn't know he was store manager.
The assistant store manager, yeah. You told someone your neck was sore, right?
I told him my back too.
But you never told the EMT your neck was sore, correct?
The MET come in and wheeled me out and took me to St. Margaret's and they left.
You never told the ER doctor your neck was sore,
I
right?
recall, like I told you.
Now, after the fall, as you waited roughly 45 minutes for the EMTs to get there in the snowstorm, did you look at your clothing?
My jacket was wet
Where was your jacket wet?
at the top.
All right. If you could go to your deposition, sir, page 42. When I asked you that question under oath back in July 2013, did any portion of my clothing get wet from falling on the, or did any portion of your clothing get wet from falling on the floor? And you answered, I don't think my clothing was wet.
My pants wasn't wet. My jacket was.
Are you now telling us the truth, or were you telling the truth in your deposition?
42.
Yes, page 42, lines 18. I'll read it again. Here's my question. Did any portion of your clothing get wet from falling on the floor? Are you there, sir? You need help? Page 42. I'll help you out if I could approach. Remember?
Yes.
42, line 18, sir.
I see what I said. I don't think any part of my clothing was wet.
Okay. So you testified differently in your deposition than you just testified in front of the jury, correct?
I just said my jacket got wet on top.
Now, after the fall, did you look down at the ground?
And I was upset. I didn't look.
Sir, I appreciate it, but you just patiently just answer my question. Did you look down at the ground, yes or no?
I don't recall.
So you don't know if there was any wetness on the ground, do you?
Was the floor wet? Is that what you asked me?
Yes. Was the floor wet?
I was upset. I mean, after my fall, I wasn't thinking about what the floor was wet or not.
So you don't know one way or the other?
One way different.
That's correct. You don't know one way or the other. Correct?
Correct.
This fall happened on February 1st, 2011 at the Strax on City Street, correct?
Correct.
Now, in 2012, roughly a year later, you have a fall from McDonald's.
Yes, I was following that.
And after that fall to McDonald's in February 2012, you went to see Dr. Shikari again, correct?
Correct.
And he treated you for a lower back problem, correct?
It was not a lower back. I would have to look over at the record, but it was not lower back.
Will you disagree with me then on after your McDonald's fall in 2012 that you had 17 physical therapy appointments for your lower back?
I don't know how many I had.
Would you agree that you had physical therapy visits for your lower back?
But yes, I did.
Okay, and you had pain in your lower back from that, right?
I didn't say lower back. I didn't say, I don't know what part that Dr. Security said I'm thinking of lower back.
Well, let me ask you this. Isn't it true that in 2012 from your McDonald's fall, you had a fracture at the L3 level in your lower back?
I had a fracture, but what part of my back, I don't know.
Right, so whatever the medical records say, you don't disagree with that.
I don't.
I want you for the purposes of this next question, assume that it was your lower back. Is a fracture of the L3. Would that be consistent with having 17 physical therapy visits on your lower back?
I had physical therapy for a fracture.
Isn't it true, after the McDonald's fall in 2012, during your 17 visits for your lower back injury, you never complained to the physical therapist about that pain?
When?
Isn't it true, after the McDonald's fall, when you had the 17 physical therapy visits, you never complained to the physical therapist about any neck problems?
You never asked me.
Did you ever? She never asked you, you never complained, correct?
You never asked me that. That's the
Mr. Franklin, you treated with Dr. Shikari from February 9, 2011 through 2012. Isn't that correct?
Yes, because the weather, you couldn't get out of your house. That's why, and that's the time you could see me.
Okay. So during that time period, that over your time period, he treated you for 2 separate falls. Isn't that correct? In 2011 and 2012. You had a fall in 2011 at Strax. You had a fall in 2012 at McDonald's. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And he treated you for both those falls.
Very shortly from the second.
But he treated you for both those falls.
Yes.
And you didn't go to anyone else other than Dr. Shikari for those 2 calls?
Correct.
So would it be fair to say he's the most knowledgeable doctor as to what your condition was and what your limitations would be?
He's the one I had faith in.
You have faith in him, right?
As the doctor, yes.
And he did a good job for you, right?
Right.
And if he says that whatever your limitations are, you'll go with it, right?
I haven't seen Dr. Security in how many years?
Mr. Franklin, isn't it true? That's right there. You had testified in your direct examination that Dr. Shikari did a neck surgery for you, right? A procedure, neck procedure?
He did the operation on me. Dr. Secretary and Dr. Marco Van. Both of them.
And that surgery was done in July 2011, roughly 4 or 5 months after your false straps, right?
Exact date I can't recall on that.
And I want you to assume it was on, I'm sorry, I think it's the date. I'm sorry, it was June 13th, 2011. Dr. Shikari did a neck procedure on you, correct?
Dr. Marco Van and he did.
Did they do any other procedures on you at that time?
I haven't seen the medical records since operation.
All right, well, in direct examination, Mr. Koosman asked you what procedures you had done, and you said you had a neck and back procedure. I'm trying to figure
I
out.
said I may have done my back, gone to my back, that's what I said.
So you can't tell the jury one way or the other whether or not you've had any back procedures. Is that fair?
I can tell them there was regularly and honestly my back was up.
Okay.
All right.
From the McDonald's fall.
From Strax to
From Strax. So if we look at the medical records of Dr. Shikari, the ER, the EMTs, and the physical therapists, they would have in there that you had a back injury. Fair?
did you show the medical records?
And if those medical records don't show that you had any back injury, you wouldn't dispute that, right?
I can tell you what was the problem.
Isn't it true after your June 2011 surgery that you had physical therapy on your neck?
I had physical therapy before that.
Okay, let's make sure everyone's on the same page. You fall at Strax in February 2011. You have surgery in June 2011. Then you have a subsequent fall at McDonald's in February 28, 2012. Is that how you remember it?
The dates I don't remember.
Okay. Now, after your June 2011 neck procedure, you had physical therapy, correct?
From the fall at McDonald's?
No, from fall Strax. You had a neck procedure, correct?
I don't have.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. In July, specifically July 15, 2011, when you reported to the physical therapist, now this is about 1 month after your neck procedure, did you not report that your pain was 0 out of 10?
My what?
Pain was 0 out of 10.
I don't recall.
Mr. Franklin, isn't it true on July 19, 2011, you reported to the physical therapist your pain was 0 out of 10?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Mr. Franklin, isn't it true that on July 21st, 2011, just a little bit about a month after your neck procedure, you reported to the physical therapist that your pain was 0 out of 10?
Don't recall.
Mr. Franklin, isn't it true on July 22nd, 2011, you reported to the physical therapist that your pain was 0 out of 10?
Don't recall.
Mr. Franklin, isn't it true that on August 21st, 2011, 2 months after your surgery or your procedure on your neck, you reported to the physical therapist that you feel tremendously better? Did you say that?
I don't recall.
Mr. Franklin, you wear glasses to drive?
Yeah.
Did you wear glasses, reading glasses for close-up?
Yes.
So you need glasses to see close-up and you need glasses to see far away?
Sometimes.
Okay. So on February 1st, 2011, the day of this incident, were you wearing either set of your glasses?
I left my glasses in my car.
I didn't ask you where you left your glasses. My question is, were you wearing either set of your glasses, yes or no?
Yes.
You were wearing them?
I didn't have them on in the store, no.
I want to just ask you one more question. Dr. Shikari, is he the doctor who told you you had to have the cane?
The physical therapy and Dr. he confirmed it.
Dr. Shikari confirmed it.
Right.
So if we ask Dr. Shikari that question, he'll confirm it.
I don't know what he said. Helen, I told Mr. Kuzman was the director of physical therapy, and his signature was on there. I think.
Mr. Franklin, just a couple more questions. You had said you were unable to get paid to do some kind of a work because you were on disability?
I did not say that. I said I worked with the mayor. I didn't accept my pay because I was getting disability.
And this was before the accident, before the fall over straps?
I was on disability, then I started working for KG when Debo lost his
And that was all before the accident?
Right.
I have no further questions.
Why don't we break for lunch, then you can do your redirect, recross. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take 1 hour for lunch. Once again, you have to discuss the case unless you're all together.